I would like to go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, nobody can hear me. Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Stacey Burleson. I am the executive director of a program called Women in Leadership, which is a program for any woman that is impacted by the criminal justice system, indirectly or directly. Every 2 weeks, we hold webinars that are very educational towards women. So with that being said, I would like to get started. Like I said, my name is Stacey. We'll have everybody introduce themselves. So Carissa, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Stacey. Hello, beautiful women. My name is Carissa McGee. I am a returning citizen, and I am the program manager for Women in Leadership. I'm very privileged and honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lena, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi, my name is Alina. I work for the University of New Mexico Hospital, and I'm a community support worker. I'm also a student intern at a counseling agency where I work with the population that's recently incarcerated, providing mental health and substance abuse counseling. So, yeah, so thank you so much for having this webinar.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And yes, everybody, and yeah, tell us where you're from. Okay, Eartha, go ahead and unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Martha Hodge. I'm a returning citizen. This is my first chance I've had to meet with you lovely ladies, and I'm really interested in just seeing what it's all about and going forward and seeing what I can help with and what I can't do. And just thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Eartha. Thank you for joining us.
Can I do a shout out to Eartha? I'm sorry, Stacey. I'm so happy to see Eartha on this call. For those who don't know, my little stint of incarceration was right under 9 years. And majority of my time, I spent all my time at the women's facility was with Miss Eartha Hodge. She was just, it's so awesome to see her on the other side of the screen right now because, you know, I know what she looks like in a jumpsuit. She knows what I look like in a jumpsuit. And now to see her as she is right now, I am like, yes, queen, welcome home. Welcome home.
Yes. Welcome, Eartha. Welcome. Yes. Good job, Bones. You didn't know I remembered that, huh? That was Eartha's nickname to Carissa, Bones. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. So Linda, thank you, Celinda. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Yes, so happy to be here in this space. I made my second one finally. So happy to be here. Welcome home, Eartha. That's such a big deal. We always want to celebrate people coming home. And happy Black History Month, day one. So Guerrero, she, her, hers, honoring Tiwa land territory that we're on. I'm with Millions for Prisoners New Mexico, and we're also the IWAC chapter for the Southwest, and building power for Black New Mexico and save the kids from incarceration, all the things that we do. But just so honored to be in this space again with you all.
Thank you for joining us, Linda. Love the shirt. Love the shirt. And then we have GM Blue Eyes. Want to unmute yourself?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Gwendolyn Blue Eyes. I work with the University of New Mexico Hospital's Family Practice Clinic. So I'm happy to join this webinar. Sounds very interesting. I'm hoping to learn some information and, you know, be able to help my clients a little bit more. Resources. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma, for joining us. Thank you. And Miss Shelley, thank you. Miss Shelley, can you please unmute and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Shelley Marshall. I'm a parent mentor with the New Mexico Family Advocacy Program. Thrilled to be here again. Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. And can the ladies at Serenity Mesa, can you guys please unmute and introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, I'm Jordan. I'm one of the clinicians at Serenity Mesa, which is a youth recovery center. And we have young women some have and some haven't been touched by the criminal justice system. And I just saw this come across my email and thought it would be awesome for them to participate in this. Stacy, I sent you an email to learn more about other things you can offer these ladies.
Yes.
So I look forward to talking to you more. And ladies, I'm Mariah. And I'm Alexis.
Hi, Mariah and Alexis.
And then we have one more, Amina.
Hi, Amina. Hi, Amina. Well, we are so glad that you guys joined us, and yeah, we have a lot of things that we can offer you. Yeah, we'll be in touch, good things, and so we would love to have you guys back, you know, all the time. So with that being said, let's get started. I would like to introduce my friend. I consider a sister, a family member. I am so proud of you. I just want you to know that. With that being said, I will introduce you to, I will let Miss Shaleka Booker, I just said her name, I will let her introduce herself, tell a little about yourself, Shaleka, tell them where you're from, you know, give us a little background.
Well, hello, everybody. And I want to start off by saying, Eartha, I'm so happy to see you too. I love you so much. I'm so happy to see you. My name is Shaleka Booker. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Currently I live in Texas right now. I started out, you know, like a normal kid, but as a child, I was bullied, which did push me into a certain mindset and a certain lifestyle that I didn't recognize until it was already too late in my eyes. I became the person who wanted to protect the person being bullied, which inadvertently I became a bully myself. And so with being that I was unable to walk away from situations that could have easily been talked about, could have been easily resolved, I found myself in a situation where a simple conversation could have deaded a lot. And that situation landed me in the Women's Correctional Facility in New Mexico. And in that time, I took a lot of time to learn myself. I moved out of New Mexico for a change of environment. With that, my mom had a organization, it's called the Get Along Girls. It's an anti-bullying organization, and it's been in place since 2008. I kind of dibbled and dabbled into it, but after my situation, seeing where I had came from and the pipeline leading there, I became full force involved. So now I'm the co-founder of the Get Along Girls organization. I also own 2 other businesses as well. But this one is my baby. I am so passionate about speaking with younger girls about the bullying because I know what it can lead up to. It does, I mean, there's a lot of different statistics behind bullying, but I know firsthand personally what it did for me. So I'm going to give you a little background on my program, our anti-bullying program. And once again, it's called the Get Along Girls Anti-Bullying Organization. I'll give you a background, an insight on that. And then also I wanted to touch base on the pipeline from bullying to the prison system. I know that a lot of us don't recognize it. I know that a lot of us don't really even see the pipeline to it, but it's a big connection. And then adults in our view, the views from adults to the child being bullied, it's a complete disconnect. And that was, a lot of studies have shown that as well. Like, we look at bullying, but we also know that we've overcome. So when we listen to what the children say about being bullied and how they feel, we have the mindset of, hey, I overcame it. So understanding what bullying is to the child and understanding how we can bridge that gap with the communication, I want to also touch base on that as well. So whenever you're ready to get started, I can.
We're ready. I gave you a picture so you can share.
All right, let's see. Okay. So as I said, my organization is the Get Along Girls, an anti-bullying organization. Exactly who we are. We are an anti-bullying group with a primary focus on little girls and girl empowerment. And I want to touch base on that. When I say girl empowerment, we want you to embrace your inner beauty and your outer beauty. There's no such thing as an ugly person. And we want you to recognize that. So we do help with certain activities for little girls to embrace their inner beauty and the outer beauty. We're currently working on something called beauty over bullying. So with that, we will be touching a lot of self-love, self-esteem type topics, things like that. We have our young ladies pledge to get along, meaning they will not engage in fighting, taunting, or bullying. Pledging to get along, we came up with that because sometimes it does take an oath or a contract or something written for someone to hold themselves accountable. So we do have a little contract that we have the girls sign, and it's them pledging to get along, and not just with the person that they're having the issue with, but with everyone. We encourage them to take stands, to help someone that they see is in need, report someone that they see is being bullied, report a bullier. We don't just focus on the bully victim, we also help the bullier as well. And we would like for the bullier to pledge to get along as well, and not just with the person, like I said, that they're bullying, but the people around them. So we just want to create unity amongst young women all over. We serve as advocates for bully victims and their families. I know in this day and age, it's really, really hard, especially with COVID and everything, to get in contact with schools, to get, your child's concerns heard, or to even not have to go through the legal system, but through just the school system. We do help with that. So if you're having an issue at your school, your child's being bullied, let's say you want to have a mediation, you're unable to get in touch with someone, we will contact that school for you. We will make sure that we follow through with every step of the way, and we do follow-ups as well. And within that follow-up, we'll go back to that second step as well. We'll get the girls to pledge to get along. We also do things where we gift girls as well. So if you have a child that is being bullied, or if you know of one, reach out to us. We do try to send out gifts that boost the self-esteem, just let them know that they are special. And in that process of them, doing the mediations and things with the school, we stand by them as well. We recognize them a lot on our web pages as well. We do workshops enhancing the beauty of young ladies inside and out. And that's getting back to the program that I said we're starting, Beauty Over Bullying. We don't want young women to feel like makeup is, the end all be all. You don't have to have makeup to be beautiful. We will teach you things like self-care, different types of soaps to use, different products, different ways to style your hair, different clothes, how to dress up jeans, how to dress down jeans. We don't want you to feel like you have to have $1 million to be a beautiful person. You use what you got, and we teach you different styles to feel, fashion. You can be fashionable, and different things like that. Our age group is kinder through 12th grade. However, we encourage all women to reach out to us for help. There's still adult bullying, and we'll touch on that as well. Even if you are an adult that has been bullied, or you're an adult and this subject is very, very touchy to you, I prefer that you reach out to us and share your story, because there's nothing like our story. No one can tell our story better than we can. So our mission, it is our mission to create a safe, comfortable, and effective school experience by promoting tolerance, sisterhood, educating girls on dealing with bullying and harassment. We believe that every child/student has the right to an education without the stress of being bullied and or free of harassment. Bullying and harassment kind of go real neck and neck, and it's a very fine line between the two. You can be harassed and not feel like you're being bullied, but still have the same effects as being bullied. So with everything that we do have to offer, we attack that as well. And then, like I said, it's a very fine line. So someone may say, well, I'm not being bullied. This person just says certain things when I walk by. Well, that's a form of bullying as well. Harassment is a big form of bullying, but people don't tend to connect the two. So we just want to make sure that everyone understands that even if you feel like you're just only being harassed, you're being bullied. The bullying pipeline. If you want to write this down, anyone who wants to look it up, I wrote it down exactly how you can look this up. The Hence 2017 title, You Can Hear Us Now, Engaging Young African-American Voices in Urban Communities and Schools. I really wanted to share this with you guys because it does have a lot of information. The study was designed to get a better understanding of the school to prison pipeline. And the study, it was proven children with suspensions and expulsions are more likely to pick up juvenile records. And I kind of want to really talk a lot about this, and I'll get you guys to kind of engage on this one. I never thought that being bullied could lead to the prison system. We always, as an adult now, looking at my children, I still couldn't bridge the two. Even though I was bullied, even though I went to prison, I never connected the two. But when you are a bully, we'll talk about the bully victim first. When you're a bully victim, there's a lot of different side effects that are, or a lot of different things that can happen to you. You become depressed. Sometimes when people become depressed, they don't know how to cope, and then they start to use drugs at a young age, or they start to use alcohol at a young age, or they start to hurt other people at young ages. And all of that is a behavior. If it's not, attacked at a young age, it becomes a pattern. And as you get older, then you have this addiction that you're trying to fight. You have this anger issue that you're trying to fight. And there's a lot of different things that connect with that. And just a second, let me go back to you guys so I can, I can't see y'all.
I'll monitor for you, Shaleka. I'll monitor the hands for you.
Okay, good. So I'll go back. Okay, so does anyone have anything that they want to add on to that or share or discuss or ask?
Okay, I see Carissa.
Okay.
Go ahead, Carissa.
So this conversation is really awesome. Already, I'm really enjoying it. I was curious about and I don't know if you're going to get into it. I don't want to jump the gun here or anything, but I'm wondering about like the rules, because I know that you're talking about young women. And like how you're talking about how, to help them understand that, they're beautiful without makeup and understanding all of this. I was just curious about how, if at all, your engagement with the transgender population or the the folks who are still not truly identifying what they are.
Yes, and actually we encourage everyone. However you identify, however you see yourself, you are beautiful. And that's the thing that we're having an issue with society. If however you identify and you are having issues with embracing the beauty with that, then hey, we're here to help you. And that's why I say I encourage other women to get involved that are not within that age range, because we do offer those workshops. We actually have a workshop coming up February 20th, and I'll get you guys that information at the end. But it's called Embracing Our Shades, and that's open to everyone, and it's all women. And with that, I do want to say I don't want it. I don't want a transgender to feel like we're not opening up to them, because of course, hey, however you identify, we are here for you. We want to make sure that everyone that is a woman, well, men too, but every woman feels like they are in a safe place. They're not being, that they can have like just a safe haven to come to, And like I said, it's more primarily we focus on kids stuff, but if we did get enough women and things like that, we could have something just where the women are able to share their stories and, you know, become mentors to our younger women, things like that. Did I answer your question, Carissa?
Yes, yes, you did.
Okay, perfect. And like I said, we have that workshop on the 20th, and I'll get you some information, and we'll go. You'll see the different types of beauty that we touch on, and it's pretty awesome. It's just like I said, it's called embracing your shades. There's many different shades of us, you know, and we want women to learn love your shade, love you, love yourself, love who you are, how you feel, what you feel, who you desire to be. You know, we want you to embrace all of that. So
I got
uh-huh.
It's crazy that you said that about like people who there is a connection of people who went to prison, kind of, you know, got bullied at a young age, and then, you know, you have 80% of mothers that are locked up, and then you got these kids that either have one parent or don't even have either parent at home. And so on top of being not that, and then I wonder, like, does that make their risk higher? I'm sure it does, huh? To become bullied when you have an absent parent, or you have a parent that's locked up in prison, or.
Well, one thing I was looking on statistics on that, and there's no real like legit ones yet. I would personally say this, that could make a child a target. Oh, you know, your mom's locked up, or you know, just, you know, kids are cruel. Kids are just really cruel. Even if a child isn't being bullied and their parent is in the prison system, I would highly recommend them get into a program, if not this one, get into a program like it, so that you're feeling the sisterhood and embracing your situation and overcoming your situation. You know, you never know what someone is feeling or what someone is going through. It may be like an indirect bullying where you're just seeing things like that are anti people in prison, and you know that your family or a family member is there, you know. Just I would recommend anyone that has a child that is outside to find them some type of organization like this, because I do see a connect with it. I wouldn't say it's you're more likely, but I do definitely see the connect with it. And I mean, the self-esteem issues, people with lower self-esteem are very much so likely to be bullied, because of the simple fact when you have lower self-esteem, your appearance changes. You're more likely to walk with your head down, your shoulders are in, your chest is in, you're closed in, you're closed to the world. You're not like, as to a person who has a confidence, you see them, their head straight up, posture's good, they're walking, they have that smile on their face. That person who has that self-confidence that just radiates without even saying words, they're less likely. But that person who has other issues, underlying issues, home issues, things that are causing them to be sad, things that are causing them to be angry, they become more of a target. And so if you are going through things at home, such as like, I mean, having a parent in prison, it's hard. I mean, my kids had me in prison, and I know how hard it was on my children. So those kind of jackets, kids wear them with them around. I mean, especially little girls, they get more. That's whenever you don't have the mother to guide, you're just kind of out there. You feel alone. You're not alone, but you feel alone. And unless you meet other women that have those, or other girls that have the same feelings like you, it may be a little harder to overcome. So I do recommend that if you know of any type of girls groups or things like that, and you know of someone who's in prison who has children out, I would recommend that you try to get them into something like that, because it will help them overcome the situation. And then getting to a little bit more into the pipeline, when you have the parent that is in the prison system and you have the child that's starting to, you know, rebel and getting into fights and things like that, and you're not even knowing why. I had a little girl who didn't know why she wanted to get into a fight with another little girl. It's just that the other little girl was happy. And it's like you think of something like, wow, why would you want to fight someone who's happy? But then you really dig into it, and it's because this little girl is suffering from something that's causing her to become unhappy. And I mean, we don't get into, hey, you know, what's going on at your home, what's going on in this, but I mean, there's something in there that is causing you to be unhappy. And that unhappiness now it's the domino effect. Now she's starting to bully. With her bullying and fighting, she's picking up the school record. With her picking up the school record, now she's picking up this juvenile record. And with her picking up this juvenile record, now she's become a product to the system. And it's like we're somewhere along the line before she became the product to the system, someone could have easily intervened in that and recognized, hey, this little girl is hurting. I don't like to just target the bully victims. I like to look at the bully, because the hurt people. And just as much as the victim is hurt, the bully is hurt as well. And these are children. So I do see the pipeline now that I'm from the outside looking in. When we're actually in it and we're in that little tube of connecting, we don't recognize, hey, you know what, this hurt me before, so now I'm hurting this. It's hard to recognize that until someone is there to walk you through that. I kind of jumped to talking about the bully, but let me get back to the bully victim really quick before I go too far. Bully victims, like I said, lower self-esteem, can cause you to hop in that tube of the pipeline. Once again, we were talking about the addictions and things like that.
Shalika?
Huh?
Hi, yeah, hi, Shalika. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're looking at different slides. It sounded like you maybe went back. What we're looking at is the Can You Hear Us study slide, and I just want to make sure.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I didn't want to go ahead yet. I didn't want to go ahead. On this slide, I have this one still up because I wanted to talk about the pipeline, the prison pipeline. So if you guys didn't have any questions, I'll go ahead and go to the next one. But I just wanted you guys to get an understanding of what the bully victims pipeline is and what the actual bulliers pipeline is.
I have a question. This is Quiva. Hi, everyone, and excuse my tardiness. I'm a subject matter expert on the women in leadership. I have a question. I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but you were talking about how the bully child becomes like their sadness, the things that they're going through. They tend to bully other children, and that's how they become part of the system, right? So is there something in place to also support the parent? Because it's not always that something is going on with that child. It could be generational, and it could be a cycle, because some women do not know how to just get out of that headspace of just being in that, low self-worth, low self-esteem. And so we tend to carry that over to our children, who tend to carry that as that, sorry, my godson's in the back. Something is wrong when there's really nothing wrong. So is there something in place to also support that mother that's there to kind of get her out of that space, to show her something different, to show her children something different?
Well, currently with our organization, we don't have anything that works primarily with the parents, but we do have a host of other resources for the parents. We do like the parent involvement as well, though. When we're serving as an advocate to the parent, we're also we're your advocate to help you understand what your child is going through. And in that process, if something comes along to where the parent is recognizing something within themselves, or we recognize something that they absolutely need help with, we can refer them out. But we don't handle the parental issues.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think you're good.
All righty. Okay, so I'm going to get into the breakdown. 16% of students in the U.S. report cyberbullying, and I want to really, really focus on cyberbullying, now because of the day and age that we're in, especially due to COVID. A lot of our children are on virtual learning. So with them being on virtual learning, we feel like, okay, you know, they're safe at home. And at home sometimes is the worst place for bullying, especially with the social medias and the Instagrams and messengers and things like that. So if you see here, 1 in 5 girls are cyberbullied, as to 1 in 10 boys are cyberbullied. So we're 5 times more likely, young women are 5 times more likely to be bullied. 92% of teens daily online are bullied. 92% is a lot. So if we really thought about a breakdown on that, that would probably be maybe over half of us on here who have children that our kids are some type of victim to online bullying. With that being said, Cleva, this might also touch on what you had just asked. In a situation like this, we have to educate the parents on it. So if we got a bully victim and they said, hey, you know, I'm being cyberbullied. Well, where are you? Oh, it's when I'm at home, or, you know, it's on my Instagram or on my Facebook. And a situation like that, we're going to get as much resources to the parent, because that parent has to be super involved on a virtual bullying. You have to monitor what your child is looking at. You have to monitor what's being said. You have to monitor, especially in this age group of kids, kinder through 12th grade. Until your child graduates, you have to monitor, because suicide is very big in children. You're seeing younger and younger children committing suicide due to cyberbullying. And the kids are cruel. We all can say that. None of us can really say that we grew up without one kid being cruel. Kids are cruel. Kids are cruel to adults now. But if we bridge together as a community and get back to the old mind frame of it takes a village to raise children, then we would be able to knock that 92% down by at least half. If we have sisters and brothers and just sisters and brothers through Christ in the prison system, and we know that they have children here, this is where our organization says, take a stand and lend a helping hand. That's one of our slogans. When you take a stand and you lend a helping hand, it's not just, oh, you know, I went and gave so-and-so a ride today. No, I seen so-and-so's kids and I, you know, got involved. I asked how this is going. I seen them on Facebook, or I seen them on Instagram, or the new thing that kids look at, TikTok. Oh, I seen this, and, you know, this was concerning to me, and I'm gonna, you know, talk to them. I'm gonna reach out to them. Things like that, we all have to. And with us being adults in here, we do have to we can't turn at the blind eye to what's happening with these children, the things that people are laughing at, the videos that are being reposted of children fighting and things like that. A part of taking a stand is reporting those things, getting those off of the internet. You know, way back when we were all around, we didn't have video cameras and people were fighting, and you're able to see this over and over and over again and look at thousands of comments of taunting and remarks. These children are going through this. The entertainment now is other people's pain. And so as the adult in this situation, I highly encourage everyone to adapt that, take a stand, and lend a helping hand. When you're seeing things like that, when you're seeing people fighting online or videotapes and things like that, I would report it. When you're seeing someone just simply calling someone a B word, report it, because you don't know what someone feels like after they're called the B word. We don't know what someone feels like after they're witnessing themselves being, you know, assaulted on a videotape and people's comments. And those are the things that lead up to children committing suicide. Those are the things that lead up to super aggression and super anger. And those are some of the things where children are feeling that they are pushed so far against the wall that they're shooting in schools. So with this statistic, I really want you guys to look at this and remember these numbers, because that's 1 in 5. I have 6 children. I have 4 boys and 2 girls. So at least one of my girls, well, one of my girls would be cyberbullied. One of my boys would be cyberbullied. And to think about that in my household happening and me not really knowing because of either lack of monitoring or my kids not reporting it, it's really, really, really hurtful.
Can I
Any
ask
questions on this? Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, Shalika, I was just gonna ask if I can ask a question. So this 92% of teens online daily, that's being exposed to what is that, social media? Is that majority of where this is taking place?
Yeah, so the cyberbullying consists of, all of these numbers come from Facebook, Messenger, all of the social media entities. And I do also believe that they added in text messaging data into the study as well.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to make a comment.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I teach mental health first aid, and so I was going through the curriculum, and one thing I noticed is that they have now added a piece in there about cyberbullying, because it is causing a lot of kids to commit suicide. So I'm looking at these numbers, and now it all makes sense why they added in the curriculum.
Right. It's really high. But I'm going to challenge everybody to do something today. If you just ask one kid, you find a kid, ask one kid that is active into the cyber things, the TikToks and all of that stuff. Ask them, have they seen a fight online? Were they able to see a fight online? And I bet my bottom dollar, if not all, but most of our children will say, oh yeah, I have video of so-and-so and so-and-so fighting. And then just think about that and think about the numbers and think about how many other children and think about the victim that they saw in that video. Okay. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Shalika, do you know if there's an age limit to any of the social media platforms? I don't know of an age limit. Does anybody know of an age limit?
I believe Facebook is 14.
So
and now, go ahead.
So I have 2. I have a 17-year-old and I have a 9-year-old. And so I've tried that on both of them, and they are both able to access all social media, because you can put in, even my 9-year-old, she put in her age, year, the year that she was born, able to make a Facebook page, not a problem. So they're able to access it with no problem. And the thing is, even Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, it's not them, it's those that are accepting those friend requests from them that they're getting access to, because, anything that the internet gets a hold of as far as a search, our thought process, I don't know how the internet knows what we're thinking, but it comes straight to our social media. And that's how, my kid, she was playing Among Us, my 9-year-old, just the other day. And she said, Mom, this kid just asked me if I do drugs. I instantly lost it. I log out, get out of it. And then come to find out, this new game, there's these separate rooms that you go into. And they was having, sex conversation and drug conversations. And, I uninstalled it from her phone. But there is, from what I'm seeing, and like I said, I have a 17 or 9-year-old. They're having access to everything with no problems.
Yes, you know what, Cleveland, I want to touch on that as well. I can completely relate with you. I'll share something. My son last night told me that I didn't know that, the gaming systems on the PS4s and the Xboxes and things like that. I didn't know that you can actually conversate with people, separate chats and things like that. And I guess that's another thing that I would like to bring to the parents' attention, going further along, because my son was talking to an adult, a 41-year-old, that was telling the kids oh, go like my page on Facebook. I sell books. Granted, it was an innocent thing, but those things, if we're not aware of what these different games and things have to offer. Not only just bullying, but there's so many other things bad that could possibly happen in situations like that. I know that eventually I might start, we're going to start pushing for age limits on this stuff, because without an age limit, we can't, there's not too much that we can do. Our children go to school for 8 hours a day. A lot of our children are primarily on computers all day long. And I don't know about you guys, but I have some very slick children. And it's hard for us to be there 100% of the time, but that's where the village has to kick in. So we are going to need more age limits on the different social media platforms and even the game chat rooms.
Yeah. Hold on, Shaleka. Celinda has a question.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your presentation today and for sharing all of your work. I was curious, you know, about how your organization or your group is addressing suicide. We know that there are many trends associated with bullying and suicide. And I wonder how your what resources does your group have for families and young people who are experiencing suicide issues?
So our organization doesn't handle the suicide firsthand. We do immediately refer you out. We will report if we have a child that says, you know, I'm feeling like killing myself, we definitely report that instantly. But we report it out. Our focus on, or our major focus is, let's say we had referred that child out, that child receives services from that entity, we bring that child back for continuing care. So when that continuing care, we're going to focus on like the self-esteem building, the self-love building, the feeling, we want to eliminate that feeling of that person being alone. So we love the fact that we can get these girls to unify with each other, and a lot of them have a lot of similar views. So if we're able to do that on a consistent basis, I know that, like, you know, the suicide prevention, they have their process that they go through, and we definitely want that child to go through there, because, you know, that is more of a mental health thing and we don't handle that. But we have like we have a registered nurse here that does kind of do assessments, and then she refers out. Well, she'll do the assessment and then she refers out. We're working on getting a counselor as well into the organization so that we do have those services to offer as well. But we do primarily focus, we do the ongoing care, the ongoing things, the ongoing concerns. Like that's why I said I want to bring it up again, beauty over bullying. We want these children to embrace the self-love, the self-care, self-esteem, and we do that consistently in a group setting.
And I kind of typed it in the chat, but like for the reporting, so it sounds like it's going to maybe CYFB, like some system, right? Do you have all envisioned something that is more peer-to-peer based, or you know, because we're impacted people, and so we struggle being able to confide in spaces that might require the structure, right? And so have you considered or thought about how to create sort of like restorative justice initiatives within your organization, your group, to help give those kinds of supports to families who are impacted or who wouldn't be safe, right, to be referred out, who it might say violence to them. And I'm only suggesting this, it's something that we've been thinking about in our own work here in our community organization. We have been working towards. So I just love being thought partners with people who are engaged and hearing your thoughts about if you felt like that was even possible for your work.
So what we refer out to the suicide prevention hotline, and we don't really, unless a child is being abused, we do not refer out to CYFD. or like if there's abuse or violence or things like that that are being reported, we don't refer out to them. We work more with just suicide prevention. So on something like that. But I get what you're saying, and I like that idea a lot. And I do, if it is something to think about within the organization. And that's why we are trying to get a counselor here so that, they do have that one-on-one space. We offer very minimal one-on-one because we're not counselors. We can't, it's a real fine line on the things that we can and can't, I guess, treat. We don't want them to feel like they're getting a counseling service whenever they're with us, because we're not counselors. But we do want them to be able to have that. We do have a lot of one-on-ones. Like I work with, right now I have a bully, I have 2 bulliers and a bully victim. And I like to work with them on one-on-one basis. And we, I do a check-in with them. They have the one-on-one, we talk, I have them do their journal. We go over the things that's in the journal, and we do this once a week so that they're getting that one-on-one time. And I know that sometimes the children just want a one-on-one with someone. And I know that in this day and age, we have a lot of single mothers that aren't able to really do it. So, our organization picks up there, and that's the one-on-one that they get from us. But on this, if they're during that one-on-one, they say, hey, I'm thinking about killing myself, then that's whenever we get them on with the suicide prevention.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Can I add to that? Yeah, so Linda, what I was telling you is when, basically when someone is saying they're suicidal, you really supposed to take that seriously, you know what I mean? And you either, try to get them to a hospital, or, you may have to call 911 and get them some help. You have to take those threats serious. But if you know.
Oh, I think your sound went out, Stacy.
All righty. Any other questions before I go to the next slide?
Oh, we lost Stacy's sound as she was giving her saying the last.
Oh, did I go out?
It went out.
Oh, yeah.
I think you were restating what was in the chat. The only reason I ask is, we know as people of color that sometimes or a lot of our folks get impacted by state violence in a negative way. Calls for suicide assistance is it leads to coming to somebody's home and trying to take them in, right? And we've seen bad situations occur from that. So I'm always just trying to think about and strategize about, like, what other alternatives, or how do we create other structures of response that aren't the police coming to our homes to intervene with, to take somebody out of our home. So I think that, I'm always just trying to problem solve and think about that as we do our work in the movement for lives as well. And so we just understand those numbers, right? And I'm always just wanting to have a conversation around what that could look like. What would an alternative system to calling 911 look like?
Yeah, thank you.
Right. And I completely understand your concern with that too. If we don't have to, we definitely will not. I understand the concern. I'm a woman of color as well, and this day and age, it's very hard to do things like that. So I understand your concern. What I wanted to get into really quickly is the warning signs of victims. I'm also going to say that this doesn't just pertain to victims. I have been looking at a lot of other things, and just a lot of the actual bulliers that I have dealt with. I see a lot of these signs in them too. So we'll just say the warning signs. Alcohol and drug abuse, skipping school, poor grades. Let me stop on poor grades. If you have a child that is normally an A student and you see that A student drop down to C's and D's, there is something definitely wrong. If you have a child that loves going to school, there is something definitely wrong. Alcohol and drug abuse. Of course, none of us want our children to be drinking or using drugs or anything like that. I know that there's the whole peer pressure thing And I know realistically, if my child came and said, Mom, I tried to smoke weed, I'm not going to say, oh, you're a bully victim. But I am going to observe, I'm going to talk to them, I'm going to explain the negatives, the downfalls, all of those things. But if you see a consistent pattern of that, that's you definitely want to start seeking help. Low self-esteem is a very big one. A person, if you just kind of see that shelled person, like, I mean, this guy in the picture, I like this picture because it's very, very, it's a good one. It's a good one of if low self-esteem was a person. I could definitely see that. He looks, the way they got him, he looks hurt. He looks a little, just, I'm just here. I'm going through the motions kind of thing. You see people like that, or your children, you recognizing them change from this perky person to just like this in a shell. I'm just here going through the motions. There may be something wrong. Losing interest in extracurricular activities. Experience more health problems. Oh, Mom, I'm sick. I got a headache now. Oh, I have, my rib is hurting. My back is hurting. Unidentified bruises, and you don't know where these are coming from and things like that. I definitely would get my child, I would start asking a lot of questions. Anxious or nervous around computers. That's a big one, especially in this day and age. If you have a child that says, no, Mom, I don't want to get on the computer today, I would really start looking into the things that they've been, the search engines and things like that, because there's something there that is bothering that child. Discussing revenge. One example I've had someone say is like, one day everybody's going to pay for what they've done to me. Comments like that, that person is hurt. They're suffering, they are hurt. And it's something that's just weighing in on the mind. Self-destructive behaviors. I would say, what would be a good example of self-destructive? Doing things intentionally to get expelled from school. Oh, you have a child that doesn't normally get in trouble. Your teacher calls and like, hey, they put glue in my chair, or they tore up my whole classroom, or they just started blurting out cuss words. Things like that, I would really, look into it, talk to the child. Changing eating or sleeping patterns. I like this one, but also if you don't have any other signs and your kid just has a change in eating or sleeping patterns, I wouldn't necessarily just say, hey, you know what, my child's a bully victim. They're getting cyberbullied. Because like I said, the day and age that we're in, kids are on computers all day, games all day and night. They're, to the point that where they don't eat. My kids will play a game until they're just absolutely losing weight. It feels like I have to pry them off the game. So, I mean, some of these just kind of use these warning signs accordingly to your child. As another one, I have teenagers, they have very bad mood swings, but not to the point to where I feel like something is wrong with them at school. Setting lack of interest in using computers or electronics. If your child just says, hey, I don't want to use this anymore, here's my phone back, I don't want to be on my phone, I would definitely look into it. Like I said, especially due to the day and age we're in. I do want to kind of touch on adult bullying. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but I just want you all to know that we do recognize adult bullying. Studies have shown a complete disconnect in bullying within the young community and how adults perceive it. However, adults also experience similar types of bullying. Cyberbullying is one of them, and is one of the most common. So that's crazy as well. Adults experience cyberbullying. So not only children are, but adults are as well. Bullying in the workplace is one of the other most common forms of bullying. I know that also bullying within the household among adults is another common form. This little slide next to it, what is bullying and all of this information, I will give you guys a little bit to look over that. And while we're looking over it, did anyone have any questions or see anything that we kind of they would want to elaborate on a little more on this slide?
I would just say that with the adult bullying, I see that a lot with a lot of adults who were bullied as children, severely, and how they've used that as a defense mechanism in order to get by in life. And in the prime example, I have a cousin. She's overweight, but we don't see her like an overweight person. But you know, in school she was bullied, but now she has such a bad attitude, and her bullying is so severe. She bullies over the smallest and minute, simplest things. Like, she get out of my standing spot. I mean, she just wants to always be in attack mode, and I know it's because she was bullied as, you know, a child, and no one did anything about it, or no one ever had a conversation with her on how to handle it. And so now in her head, she feels like I'm gonna do you before you do me.
Right. And as an adult, if you notice that, and if you see that, or even if you've noticed yourself being someone that is bullied, I would highly recommend these little steps down at the bottom. It kind of cuts it off a little bit, but the most important one to me is write everything down, document everything. If this is happening in the workplace, if it's happening in your life, I would highly recommend that you write everything down. That's another one. Seek help. I know that, I don't know well about y'all, but I believe I have come from a generation of where I thought that seeking mental help was bad. Like, it's like, oh, well, if I go to the counselor, something's wrong with me. I don't want something to be wrong with me. Or if I go there, I'm crazy. And so that mindset of feeling like you would be crazy if you had to go, you know, there, we got to get rid of that. We got to recognize that, hey, you know what? I'm feeling this type of way and I need to seek help. I need to see a therapist, a psychologist, or a counselor. But just recognizing that and starting to be more open with our peers. I'm 33, so when I talk to my friends, I'm like, hey, you know what? One of my good friends said, I went and seen a therapist. I'm like, oh, really? How did you feel? She's like, you know what? I never knew how much I needed to see a therapist until I seen one. With us being open as women with each other on these types of topics, it will kind of encourage our peer, our friend, our sister to seek those kind of helps, especially if you see someone that has had that pipeline. There's not only pipelines to prison from bullying, there's pipelines from childhood bullying to adult bullying, or there's pipelines from childhood depression from bullying to adult depression. So now that we are older and we're able to recognize the people around us, Quiva, like your cousin, for instance, you're able to recognize those signs in her. I know that if you were to say, hey, cousin, you know, you need to go see a counselor, that might be something where someone would be defensive. But if you kind of recognize something that you guys can relate on and throw that in there, that may be something that can work. But like I said, we all have to band together in sisterhood when it comes to these bullying things, because it's a domino effect into other things from the childhood to the adulthood. Any other questions?
I got something. I was reading on something last night, and I won't go into it as just a statement. There is a link between a person being a bully and that person had been sexually assaulted at one point in their life. So I have read that. And then I want to ask you, are there any tips for a person who is a bully? Because you know if you're bullied, you know what I mean? So I've been one. So are there any tips, you know what I mean, for a person who may be doing
I'm sorry, Stacey, it cut out at the last part. Any tips for a person who had been a bully?
Like, yeah, like if I'm bullying somebody and I know I'm doing it, you know what I mean? For whatever reason, if if it might be a I might hurt. I don't know, but are there any tips for that? Because there may be a person who may be crying out for help and crying out in that way and just don't have necessary tools or skills not to do it.
Hey,
Am I breaking up again?
your audio is like cutting in and out. So
Yeah.
it's hard to hear you. If you could chat it.
I'm trying to decipher what you're saying.
Okay, one more time. Can y'all hear? Okay, are there any tools for the bully? Like if I know I'm bullying somebody, maybe it's a cry out for help, the reason I'm doing it. Are there any tools for a person like myself? Yeah.
I personally would say the first step would be to reach out to an organization. That's one of the best tools that you can use, because you may not recognize why you're doing what you're doing until you actually get in and you're able to break down step by step, and you're able to say, hey, you know what, I might have low self-esteem, or I might be hurt about something that someone did to me 10 years ago. It's hard to recognize those things on our own. So start a journal as an adult. Like, journaling it's really beneficial, especially when we're just learning ourselves. Think about a book that you have read, a book you love. You read a book, sometimes you want to read the book a second time, because the second time you're really going to get it. Even a third time, you might just know it by that time. But you don't know that book until you read it. And we have to look at ourselves as a book. Sometimes we are the person in the mirror, on the other side of the mirror, not even the person that is looking into the mirror. We're the person on the other side. So journaling would be one tool that I would say. Start that journal, go back the next day, write something in the morning, how you woke up feeling, right, throughout the day, just even if it's a sentence. Then the next day, go back and evaluate that, write what you evaluate on yourself, then your first, and do it all over again. It may seem like a lot of writing, but 1 or 2 sentences is not going to hurt. Just, hey, I woke up feeling sad today, and now I'm feeling happy because I woke up feeling sad because, and always write the because. So that way, when you go back and evaluate, like, what can I do in the morning to not do this to make me feel like this? But I do highly recommend that, getting involved in different organizations where you're able to build bonds with other sisters and form sisterhoods with people. It's very helpful.
You know what else, Stacey? And I mean, Shalika's on point with what she's telling you, but from somebody who sometimes I go there too. Like, I'm in that rah-rah moment, and right then and there, I have to do a self-awareness and a self-check, and I have to tell myself, you out of line, and you just bullied this person, and I have to be, as a human, go back to that person and apologize. I don't say sorry, because you know how people are nowadays. You are sorry, they always got to come back. So I never say sorry. So I always go back and I apologize, because for one, a bully is somebody that's egotistical and don't see themselves as someone who is dominating the next person. They don't see anything wrong with it. But if you can go back and be like, you know what, I was out of line, I overstepped my boundaries, whatever the case is. And I'm only telling you this from experience. This is not something that I read in a book or anything. And I'm not the expert like Shalika. I'm only telling you what I do in order for me to get to the step of journaling. In that moment, that's where I go. I do a self-awareness, because if I hold that against, like, for the rest of the night and I go to journaling, I'm journaling in anger. I'm journaling out of regret. I'm already there to where I knew I did wrong, but I did nothing about it. I'd rather correct it first, figure out how my thought process is, and then go to what Shalika said. You know what I mean? That's like I said, that's only for me. And I can only give you what I do. That's how I check myself. I constantly have to check myself with my mouth sometimes.
I like that, Cleva, because there's a perfect example of why I say join an organization or a group, because what worked for you might work for her, what worked for me might not work for you. Like, you know, we're able to kind of exchange information and things to do, to go about. And we're all able to utilize our experience. And I feel like you don't get valuable data without actually experiencing it. So if I know you've done it this way and you're able to self-check, hey, you know what? We've said that she was able to self-check. I'm going to challenge myself to self-check. And that's why I say the first tool would be getting into an organization for just like this. This is a perfect example. I know that I'm kind of running over on time, so I'll hurry. Ways to get involved. We're right at the end, ladies. Get your daughters signed up. If any of you ladies have daughters, please contact me. I will get my contact information to Stacy or Carissa, and I would love to have your daughters, nieces, friends, anybody, because it's nothing like having the sisterhood. We are doing a workshop February 20th. I will get you guys that information as well. I would like to have you ladies can come and sit in and take a look at what we do have to offer. I mean, I know some people want to know what they're getting their children into before they do it. We do welcome you as well. If you want to be involved, you don't have any children or anyone to recommend, but you want to share your story, contact me. Tell me your story. We do gift girls. We do post the stories. We acknowledge women. We love women. We love, that sisterhood. We want to have an alumni of sisters, even if they're not that school age. If we can get adult women to come in, we love that. We want to have that sisterhood bond. If you don't want to do either of those, if you have any money to donate, items to donate, or even just time. If you have time to sit there and try to get someone to come into the organization, let them know what it's about, I would love that. We would love that. Refer someone, just as simple as that. You don't have to do any of the other things. Just, hey, I know this girls group, this girls organization, they're anti-bullying, and hey, you should try it out. Simple as that. These are all of the sources for the information that we had gotten. The National Anti-Bullying Association has everything. That's everything in a nutshell of all the information if you're looking for anything. Other than that, let me come back to you all. If I can get back. Okay, I think I'm back. Can y'all see me?
We can see the screen again.
Oh, I think. You can still see. Let's see.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Stacey, we can hear you.
Okay, I don't see. The only person I see is myself.
Oh, Carissa and myself is on the screen as well.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, I did something. Disable video receiving. I don't think I want to do that.
Okay. Let me.
You can still see the screen that I'm sharing?
No. We can see the Hollywood squares. I'm seeing all the beautiful faces. Your camera just isn't on, so I don't know if you have your camera on. Oh, here you come.
Oh, there we go. I'm here. I'm back. But I did want to say I really appreciate you all for having me here. Before I did end everything, did anyone have any questions about anything or how to get involved or anything like that?
I do. First off, I want to thank you for this presentation. Again, I was late, but I can always reach out to Stacey and Carissa to get those slides. My daughter was bullied when I first regained custody of her, and I didn't know until we had a little carnival in Belen, and a random girl walked up to her and said, "Hi, Kimaria," and the look on Kimaria's face, like I knew something was wrong. And the girl said, "I'm sorry what my friends did to you." and my baby's eyes watered. And so I was like, what's going on? You know, I'm like, oh, your friend. No, that's not the case. So instantly my daughter got defensive. Like, she snatched her arm away from me. She isolated herself. And as a parent, as her mother, I did not know how to handle it. Everything in me was like, snatch this little girl up. I'm not going, I mean, that was in my head. You know, you harmed mine. So, but I didn't. I sat down on the bench and I was like, Kimari, what's going on? She started crying. I didn't know what to do. And so since then, you know, she's gotten out of that stage, but I still feel like a part of her was wounded. I still feel, because when I think about it, my eyes, like, I still get sad because of the look that was on her face. And so I would like my daughter to be a part of your organization, to see if you can, because I know I'm hard on my kids. I want